Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Today with another review for the film Together, written, directed by Michael Shanks, starring real-life couple Dave Franco and Alison Brie. And this follows the story of Tim, an aspiring musician, and Millie, a school teacher, played by Franco and Brie respectively, as they move from NYC to a more countryside type of town where she takes this new job, and their long-term relationship is put to the limits and put to the test, and really starts to take a strange turn after they enter this mysterious cave in the wilderness near their house. So that's all I'm going to say. That is the setup. But this film, of course, was one of the biggest hits coming out of the Sundance Film Festival year. I believe the biggest acquisition as well from Neon. And so there was a lot of hype going into this. I was very excited. The trailers really got me hooked as soon as I saw it in the theaters. And so I went and I saw this early at the Alamo Draft House, which is always a lovely place to go. And I was able to get to see this a week early. I'm bringing you this review probably about a day or so, or on the day that it comes out. So very excited to have gotten the opportunity to talk about this one and got to see it early because I love this movie. I think that this is quite the experience if there ever was one. And that's probably the best way to describe this movie. It is very trippy, very physical, very grotesque in a lot of ways. And I think the thing that makes this work so well, besides Shanks' direction, is the script here. I think he really understands these characters so well, and their toxic, codependent dynamic with one another. And of course, also up for the assignment are Franco and Brie, who are absolutely terrific in this. I think that the tension between them is so palpable, and just the way that they look at each other, it feels so authentic. Of course, they are married in real life, but it's no surprise to me that both these actors are terrific in their roles, and of course you would expect that from Alison Brie, but Dave Franco here was really the one that blew me away. Like, I honestly think his performance as Tim in this is legitimately worthy of an Oscar nomination. I think that this is the best work I have ever seen him do in anything, and he is called upon to do so much emotionally. It is a very demanding performance, and I think he nails it to high heaven, man. I mean, really, I want to see Dave Franco get more meaty roles like this. I honestly think he's one of those guys who could be nominated for an Oscar sometime in the near future, and I don't think enough people talk about Franco as much as, let's say his older brother, who's out of the picture obviously now, but I really do think that he deserves some more chances to really get the opportunities to shine. And of course, I could go on about Alison Brie as well, because she's going through a lot emotionally. Maybe not as crazy as what Franco's character is going through, but still, there's a lot of emotional unrest there in her performance, and I think it boils up to the surface in so many great scenes, in so many empathetic ways too. And I think if their dynamic didn't work, and if the script didn't lay it out so perfectly, this movie wouldn't have worked as well as it did. But I think regardless of that, there's so many things to love about the direction of this film. Like I was saying, like, there's some scenes that are so surreal and trippy, and honestly quite terrifying, especially if you watch this movie in another state, if you get what I'm saying. There are certain sequences that will certainly leap out to you in a way that amplifies the terror of the scene happening on screen. And like, there were a couple scenes where it was legitimately scary, and I wouldn't say that I necessarily get scared by many horror movies, but there's a couple of sequences that really kind of got me there. I think the jump scares are utilized so well throughout the story, and it lets you know almost immediately, unlike a movie like Sinners, that it is a horror movie, and what a glorious one at that. I mean, there's so many disturbing sequences where the tension is just so razor sharp, and it's like, oh my goodness, like, definitely a couple of really sit on the edge of your seat sequences in this, and I really think that everything just feels so elevated and directed perfectly in all the right places. And the sound design here is absolutely exceptional. You feel all the intensity that just is searing through that sound design when things happen. It just whips your head around immediately. It's like that kind of immersion with the sound. I think it's worthy of an Oscar nomination, but yet again, that's probably not going to happen. And I just really think that it heightens an already extremely troubling dynamic, you could say. And I think the movie works so well because the emotions that these characters are feeling is rooted in a very, very relatable place, especially if anybody has gone through a toxic relationship. I hope you haven't gone through it to that extent, of course. But I do think that the emotions are so palpable and understandable. The way that even though these characters are very, very flawed people, it's always easy to empathize with them, at least at a lot of points in the movie. And I think that kind of narrative tightrope act is a very hard one to walk, and I think this movie pulls that off flawlessly. Though I will say, I mean, there's a couple of inconsistencies here or there, especially with maybe a decision that was made that I thought was kind of poor, just from a character standpoint, is just kind of dumb. And I think that there's a couple of things that happen in the story that I found very easy to predict. Now, that's not to say that it doesn't fit well within the structure of the story, but I just think it's a little obvious at points, and I'd be very curious to hear what you guys think. Of course, let's not get into spoilers or anything, but yeah, there's a lot to love about this movie. Another great thing in this film is Damien Harriman has a really meaty supporting role in this as one of the teachers at Millie's school and their neighbor, and I think he really gets a lot of great moments to shine as well. He really has a lot of presence in this film, especially considering the fact that this really is more of a showcase for Dave Franco and Alison Brie more than anything. But my goodness, this takes some really crazy twists and turns. And it's one of those movies where, okay, there were a couple of moments where I could see where it was going, but its ultimate destination, I think, is what really wowed me. And it's something that a lot of people are going to be talking about once this movie comes out and the discussions start swirling around online when it comes to the meaning of the ending of the film. There's going to be a lot of that, even though I think it is very obvious what that is. I do think that it does warrant a discussion, and really I think the movie comes together so well by the end. So despite the fact of, you know, my issues and the fact maybe it took me a little while to get into a couple places, maybe it slowed down here or there, this is just one of the most wildly creative and exhilarating cinematic experiences you will experience all year so far. And I'm going to give Together an 8.5 out of 10. I definitely feel like, not that my score will go up on rewatch, but I definitely think that this is one I'm going to appreciate more. Maybe I could bump it up a little bit. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's one of my absolute favorite movies of the year, but it's certainly one that I loved and will definitely be getting at least an honorable mention on my best films of 2025 list when I get around to that next year. So yeah, guys, you let me know what you think about Together down in the comments below. Did you love it as much as I did? Did you love Franco and Brie in this? Because really, I just want to see them do more consistent work at this level. Especially Franco, man. I really do think that this is quite a new step in both of their careers, and I'm all here for it. And yeah, please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to get more movie reviews like this. I plan on seeing The Naked Gun this weekend, so be sure to stay on the lookout for my review of that sometime by the end of the weekend. So, in the meantime, you all stay well and healthy, and I look forward to talking to you very soon.